Monday morning. Welcome to Drive Time, the best show ever. Back at it after a week off. Good morning, Kimberly Blair. Tracy Miller. Good morning to you. Tracy Steele. Good morning. Hot Rod. Good morning to you, sir. Sisters Ann. Good morning. Melody Fresh. Good morning to you. Townsend. Good morning. Good morning, Miss James. Johnny Sims. Good morning to you. John Blair. Good morning. Randy Bell. Good morning, Randy. Gord's in this morning. Good morning to you. Jesse James. Good morning, Jesse James. Kimberly Peebles. Zeke Smith. Russell Walzell. Good morning to each of you. Kathy Tolan. Good morning. Good morning. Earl Crook. Good morning, Earl. Timmy Wiggins. Good morning to you. Good morning, Cheyenne. And good morning, Kenwood.
Good morning, DJ. And back at it. Monday morning.
Love it.
First of the week. I know you always have said you love Mondays.
I love Mondays.
What is it? Just getting going again? Is that what the deal is?
A lot of opportunities.
What is the deal?
A lot of opportunities.
I'm getting a report of the week. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, let me fix that. Maybe that fixed that. I hope it did. I was getting a report. We was getting an echo.
Uh-oh.
You know how it is when you come in here and this stuff's been turned off for a week. Things typically don't like to they don't like to act like they're supposed to. Let me just say that.
Randy Bell's got us on the 65-inch screen this morning.
Well, that's awesome.
That can't look good.
I don't know. I'd hate to be watching me and you on a 65-inch screen.
Good morning, Coach Newton.
Let me say that. Let me see here. Like I said, I hate coming back in here after we've been gone because it's just always, you got to come in here and fight this mess to get it back to where it was, which I say fight it. I don't mean that necessarily. I'm just saying that's just, what do they say? That's just the way it is. So anyway, what's going on? What happened in the big town of B-Town over the last week, man?
It was hot.
It was hot.
Summer hit full force last week.
Yes, it did. And still echoing I'm getting. Okay. Check. I don't see it. I don't hear it either. Do you hear an echo?
I do not.
Oh, it's fixed now. Okay, good. I got it. Yeah. That's what you get for coming out here and turning this stuff on and not coming out here quick enough and turning it on. Anyway, it was hot. It was real hot.
It's been a bruiser the last 3 or 4 days.
Friday and Saturday was tough, wasn't it?
Yesterday wasn't much better.
No.
I think today's going to be much of the same.
Did you y'all have a big Fourth? Did you?
I wouldn't say a big Fourth.
Did it rain? Off and on, maybe?
I'm trying to think. I think it was scattered showers. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of overcast and that kind of thing. But I tell you what, I was out of town for a week and had a good time. It's good every now and again. Good to clear your head like that.
Sure, it is.
So I was glad to get that done and ready to get back at it again. So looks like a lot of things going on. School-wise, football-wise, all that kind of thing. Are you still sticking to your thing, your thought process of you don't think it's going to happen? It may start.
Yes, I'm going to stick with my assessment.
But it's not going to finish.
I don't think it will.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Gosh knows I want to watch it.
Sure.
But it doesn't appear to be trending in a direction that would be favorable for that to happen. Yeah,
well, I'm with you there. It's I don't know what's going to happen either, but I know that no matter what happens, it's going to be a very different, very, very different year school-wise than what we have been used to seeing for sure. I will give you some sort of give you back some faith in humanity.
Okay.
There's equipment out there on the bridge.
Like raking equipment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like front-end loaders. They've got some sort of mobile office set up out there.
Okay. Well, they're fixing to do something then.
And then looks like they've piled of a bunch of dirt or gravel, something. They've piled a bunch of stuff up there. So anyway, I just want to let you know it's everything is looking good out there on that bridge when I drove through yesterday for sure. So let's see. Good morning, Earl Crook, Johnny Sims, Leroy. Good morning, Leroy. Sister, good morning, Whitney. Good morning, Georgia, Chris. Megan Ferreira, good morning to you. Timmy Wiggins, good morning. You might have already got some of these, but King Kane, good morning, King. Sherry Weaver, good morning to you. And, I was just glad to see that because I didn't think that they would ever get the pier ever finished up for people to go out there and really be able to fish off of.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they're going to do something.
I wonder if they'll
been a long time.
I wonder if they'll turn the old bridge into a pier like they did, the old Pensacola Bridge. When they built that new bridge, they just turned the old one into a fishing pier.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be fun. Have something you go out there, and I don't know how many people would like it that was driving a boat on the Conecuh River.
Yeah, probably wouldn't work out very well.
Be hooked in the head. May have to cut it off on the sides or something like that. But so did y'all? You said did Coach Newton win it out?
He won it. The league champs.
The whole deal.
Yep.
Well, that can't shock you.
They were my preseason favorite to win it.
Yeah, I mean, again, that can't shock you. It doesn't shock me.
No.
I wish I could say it did, but
I'll tell you something that went on around here and tell me if it's in place down on the coast.
All right.
And I saw a post on it, and I guess I noticed it when I was there, although it wasn't a big deal to me because the way I commerce by card anyway, by debit card.
Sure.
I very rarely have cash on me. But it was brought to my attention that this weekend at Walmart here in Bruton that cash wasn't even an option. I'm not sure of what that's all about and if that's a temporary thing or if they're trying to trend in that direction. But is that something that you saw down the coast as well or not necessarily?
Let me say this. We have we've seen it a few places. Didn't make
cash wasn't an option at some places.
Wasn't an option.
What do you make of that? What do you think about that?
They say it's from a coin shortage. But I just don't get that. And how can we have a coin shortage?
I'm gonna tell you, it's funny that this is coming up. I would say 6 weeks ago, the first person I heard mention this was Betsy Miller, who happens to be my banker.
Sure.
And we were at the softball park 6-7 weeks ago, and she decided the blue, when we were talking, she said they are experiencing a coin shortage. And we didn't get into great detail in terms of a conversation about it. I didn't really understand it, but that was the first time I'd heard that term. Of course, since then, and most recently in the last several days, I've heard it a bunch. But several of the people have made comments that if there is a coin shortage, they certainly understood having to pay with correct change. But the fact that you can't pay with legal currency is a little disturbing to me.
Well,
even though I choose not to, if it's legal tender, I don't know. I don't know what to think of that.
Let me say this. I've heard people make this comment about cashless societies. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what unnerves me. When somebody won't take a long wheelbase 10 from you, I mean, what does that say about them wanting your business? And maybe I'm wrong for looking at it that way. But I mean, here's the thing. If we have a coin shortage, can't they just put more into circulation? I mean, isn't it that easy to fix?
Well, I told Betsy that day at the park, I said, Betsy, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm always looking to help. I'll give you 3 quarters and you give me $1, a paper dollar bill. I'll give you 3 case quarters, you give me $1, and I'll do that as many times as I can to help the bank have more coins.
Well, sure.
And she didn't seem interested.
She didn't want to do that.
No, I didn't want to do that.
Well, I mean, what
I
is
was just trying to help.
What is your idea of this deal? I mean, like, what do you think about it?
I wish I knew for certain if this is the way it's trending or if this is just a 6-week, 8-week deal.
I did see where somebody posted that Burger King had a sign up that said no cash.
If it's a permanent move, I would find that disturbing. If it's just something that's going on, like I said, I use my debit card almost everywhere I go. I can tell you one place you can't use it, and that's at the snow cone shop that's newly opened here by Twice the Ice across from Walmart. You have to have cash there.
So let's see. Jesse James says the U.S. Mint says it's due to people staying home and not spending money. Sister says you can pay with cash, but if we don't have change to give you back, then the business can't accept all forms of cash. They aren't going to round up or down, so the best thing is just take a debit card. Well, I mean, that's it. My only problem with that is the way, let's say Melanie French said, the way the law is written on our currency, if a business refuses to accept legal currency, you are paid in full. You do not have to use another form of payment. Really?
I saw something on Facebook along those same lines. Didn't know if it was legitimate or not and didn't do a fact check on it. But I did see something that kind of said the same thing.
I mean, does that mean you can walk in there and say, here, DJ, here's my $100 bill. I can't take that. Well, thank you. I'm going to take my goods with me.
That's what the write-up said.
How far down the road do you think you'll make it before you get pulled over?
I don't know. I mean,
if you had somebody videoing that, I would think that there's nothing that they could do.
I would have it would bother me. It would be unsettling for me if I went in and bought product and it was $5 even, and I offered them a $5 bill and they wouldn't take it.
Yeah. I mean,
that would scare me.
Yeah. I mean, it is scary. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you went out there and got $4.86 worth of gas and only had a $5 bill?
You know, and obviously, when you use your card as another means of them tracking you, your whereabouts, you know, where you've been.
Listen, I'm gonna say this.
With the phone, they got you.
We're so far past that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you truly want to be off the grid, then let me explain to you how to be off the grid. Take your cell phone, go take a battery charger to it, and bust it open. Take the battery charger, put on one end, the positive, the negative on the other end of the circuit board, put on full charge and fry it.
Yeah.
Throw it in the garbage, and then get rid of every electronic you own.
Then
everything.
Then you might be off grid.
Then maybe.
Yeah.
You got a sporting chance.
Yeah.
You have zero chance as it is. I mean, think about it, man. I'll give you an example. I saw this morning, I sent a text to Jesse James. I saw this morning where John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, had passed away from breast cancer. Fought it for 2 years. Tragic. Sad to see. I loved her. Loved her movies. And the crazy thing, we had that conversation 2 or 3 days ago. Like, I was just asking her, you know, what happened to, you know, because I hadn't seen her in any, you know, movies or anything like that in a while. And then all of a sudden, this morning, bam, it pops up. I mean, this has just been a day or two ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, everybody knows this artificial intelligence is here. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. All you can do is try to make the most of it. Now, I'll tell you what most companies are really wanting to do. Most big companies, Fortune 500 retail companies, they're wanting you to put all your payment information right there or on a smartwatch and just walk up there, pop up, and it's done. That's what they really want. Okay?
Yeah.
But the deal is, and I agree, I saw somebody had made a post about how do you teach your children to be responsible with, you know, like budgeting and learning how to budget and learning how to, you know, save your money and be able to save it and accomplish, you know, going to buy something. How do you do that if we get to where cash doesn't mean anything? And I don't know that we're actually headed toward, to that. I think right now, just like everything else, and I'm, may get filleted for saying this, but I mean, I'll just say it anyway. I think right now, people are so, and I'm not talking about just, I mean, just, worldwide, with the pandemic, going on and just, all the crazy things that you see on Facebook and on social media, on the news, everything every day. The next best thing that comes along, people just automatically going to latch onto it and, the world's ending. I'm not saying that's not the issue here. It may be. I just don't, I think that it's going to, I think if we were all just conducting lives as normal right now, we'd all look at each other and go, they'll get it back and we'll have change in a little while. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I guess for the sake of discussion, obviously we're having to live a different way, have been for some time now. If that is extended into the future, and then all of a sudden these new ways of trading and these new ways of living become the new norm and become a habit, it seems like out of sight, out of mind, and, a reconditioning of habits, if you will, spending habits, whatever, then all of a sudden it just kind of goes away. I don't know. It's strange. Very strange.
It really is. It is. So the Federal Reserve says there is no federal statute mandating that a private business or person has to accept currency or coins as payment. So you probably don't want to snatch up your groceries and run out the door if they wouldn't accept your long wheelbase 10.
That sounds official to me. But once again, my bigger problem is I don't know where to get the facts.
Yeah,
there will be another press release that'll sound just as official that contradicts that. Of course, we talked about the Federal Reserve. I mean, I don't know. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It is. And the thing is what do you do? I mean, like it's one of those things that I mean, if they won't take it, they just won't take it, right? I mean, I can tell you this: if you come to the Ford store or the Chevrolet store, we're going to take your cash.
Absolutely.
So, and I guarantee you, Tallulah Bells will take your cash. And I'm not speaking for Tracy and them, but I'm sure that most places around Bruton probably will.
I would bet James Brothers Furniture will.
I guarantee you they will. I guarantee you David's will.
I would think Harrington's would.
Matter of fact, I saw Harrington's make a post that said they were. So, yeah, I think all of our local businesses definitely would take that. I did see someone mention that, basically that, hey, listen, they won't take my cash. I'll find something else somewhere else that will. So, hey, maybe that's an idea to stick with right now, But I do think that it's kind of crazy. We've seen a time where you have businesses that say we can't take cash.
Has there ever been a coin shortage in our lifetime? I'm not aware of it if there was.
I'm not aware of it either. I know I know there was a gas shortage.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I actually did a report on that in the third grade.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember a coin shortage.
I remember gas being rationed here in Bruton.
Yeah, I remember the lines.
You could get, I don't know what it was, 5, 10 gallons, whatever it was. There was a threshold that you could get, no more, and move on.
The crazy thing about that is that they claim it's because all these people are quarantined or staying at home and not going out, that kind of thing, and that's why that you don't see the coins in circulation, because most people just aren't out spending them. Well, I can tell you this: obviously, those people haven't been to the beach.
Yeah,
because I'm here to tell you, there are people. You can't tell there's anything going on at the beach.
I see the pictures from the different waterways or whatnot, and it looks like that there's more than there's ever been.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's not business as usual.
Yeah.
It's business as wide open.
Yeah.
Somebody told me a stat last week that said now this was week before last, said through that week that Gulf Shores and Orange Beach business year over year was up 18% year over year from last year.
Really?
18%.
That kind of surprise. Well, I say it. I know there was a lull there for a little while, but I guess they've made it in the last 2 months. I guess they've made it hand over fist.
But they were wide open.
Yeah.
You know, and let me tell you this: you didn't have to look very far to see a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people down on the coast. 4th of July.
Well, I guess that's why.
Good morning, Miss Gail Kurtz.
I'm not understanding.
Jeff Robinson, good morning.
I'm not understanding that if they're showing receipts 18% up, how there can be a coin shortage.
Well, you know, and I, let me say this: I don't know what areas that's hitting in. It would appear to me that it's more of your big box stores. Now, like I said, I did see a post that had Burger King that had a sign up that said they couldn't accept anything but debit cards or credit cards right now. The thing about that for me is how many people just, you know, for whatever reason, and that's their own reason, but how many of those people choose not to have a debit card or a credit card? I mean, think about it. There are people out there that don't want a credit card because, you know, there's maybe they've had a bad experience with it. Maybe they just don't want one. I realize a debit card's a little different in that it's pulling, you know, out of your whatever account you have it, you know, stuck to. But still, I you know, and it brings up a question. Are you in favor or not in favor of a truly digital based currency? I mean, you know, that gets into the whole Bitcoin and the whole you know, cryptocurrency and all that kind of thing. What is your idea on that?
I don't know enough about it to have an informed opinion. Like I said, the way that I trade is with my credit card. I pay my power bill and my debit card. I don't have a credit card. I pay my power bill on my debit card. I eat off my debit card. I shop off my debit card. If I've got cash on me, there's a good chance I found it laying around.
What you're saying is, if you write a check, you have to sit there and think about how to write one. Because you don't write them that often.
I don't write them that often. I'd still do.
I mean, that's me. I have to sit there and think about it.
I still write checks, but if you chose to mug me, you're going to get my debit card. You're going to get a ticket for a Boston Butt from the WSNL Diamond Club fundraiser. You're going to get a T.R. Miller Band Boosters coupon card, and I think you'll get my driver's license.
And that's it. And that's about the extent of it.
That's it.
Well, yeah, you know, and the crazy thing is there's a lot of people out there that's exactly the same way they roll. And let me say this. That's much easier to keep up with things that way, is it not?
That was what I was going to answer. If it went that way, it would suit me, but it would also be a little alarming. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm 50 years old. It's hard to think about money not being in circulation. I mean, I guess the change of it would scare me. I don't know if I know enough to know that it'd be bad and dangerous. The change would scare me, I guess.
I mean, it is scary. I mean, you know, it's a scary thought. I mean, but I will say this. I do think that I think that's going to happen before it's over with. I think it'll all be digital. I still think you'll be able to spend cash. I just think that, you know, just like with Walmart, and speaking of, I've read several articles over the last several months that said eventually there won't be any cashiers at Walmart. Everything will be self-checkout.
I love self-checkout.
Yeah, I mean.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's me. I love it.
I know, you know, Home Depot's headed that way. Lowe's is headed that way. You know, a lot of your, you know, bigger box stores are headed that way. But here's my only issue, and I'm, you know, I mean this, and it goes back to kind of the whole socializing and understanding and being able to have conversations with each other. how are we doing, or what are we doing when everybody just sits at home and has groceries delivered and has their products delivered and everything's paid for like that? I mean, there's not a lot of socializing going on.
Right.
What direction does that take us in? It would seem to me like it would take us in a direction that we may already have seen with what's going on right now a touch of. And I don't know that we could stand like going down this road and continuing down this road.
Well, we've talked about it a little bit, and
Pull that mic up a little closer.
We've talked about this a little bit, and we're obviously, when you talk about community, I mean, we are not designed to live the way that we're being asked to live. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I mean, for the greater good and for the health of society, I get it. I'm all on board. But when you talk about bubbles bursting, I worry about the emotional bubble. Whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's anybody. I mean, I would be interested to see what some of the mental health experts say may be going on in our communities. What is going on with maybe problems associated with the emotional troubles, because it's a different way to live. I mean, and you can I kind of feel that, even when you're in these stores that are open. I mean, you can tell that the majority of the people are making an effort to stay away. And I mean, like we talked about the handshake being gone. Well, I'm a hugger, and I can't tell you the last time that I felt comfortable hugging somebody just because I didn't want to impose, and maybe there is something to it. But I get real concerned about that emotional bubble for our community.
Well, you when you see the toll that this thing is taking on veterans and things like that, especially you look at the veterans part of it, they're dealing with a lot of things. I saw a very sad story over the weekend. A guy that a Green Beret, they called Captain America. That was his nickname. Mm-hmm. Highly decorated combat soldier. 6, 7, 8 tours, that kind of thing. And he, took his own life. And, it's one of those things that I get back to. I just think, and you said this many times, there's no substitute for socializing and the herd, dealing with the herd. I mean, it's just no substitute for that.
When you talk about, medicines, and I'm not speaking over the counter the medicine. I'm talking about for your well-being, for your whole as a person. What does laughter do for you?
Oh, I listen. I couldn't make it without being.
I mean, what does a hug do? What does a handshake do? I mean, and those ways that we have, expressed ourselves, since the beginning of time, are kind of being put on the back burner. And once again, if it serves the greater good, I guess I get it. It'll just be a reprogramming for all of us. I can tell you, like my weekends have definitely changed. I quarantine for the most part, and it's I
know you used to have a little. I hate to say a little routine, but I mean you made your way kind of around a little circle, if you will.
And I would do that, and now because you not only to protect myself, but to protect others.
Sure.
And of course, then when my son a month ago tested positive, I even closed it down that much more.
Sure.
And you sit there, and before you know it, it's Sunday night at 8:00, and you hadn't left the house. Now you've been in the yard. You might have rode the block on the golf cart or something.
You cleaned the red room as much as it could be cleaned.
You cleaned and you polished. And you
Lubed
look
it up,
and you said, I haven't really
salved it up.
I haven't spoken to anybody. I haven't had a conversation with anybody.
And that can't be good.
It's not good. It can't be good.
It can't be good.
I'm sitting here telling you that I'm breaking down. I'm trying not to use my name on it, but I'm breaking down, man. My emotional bubble is about to bust.
Ted Kaczynski is living proof that can't be good.
It's not good.
That guy had a PhD in what, astrophysicist, whatever, what, math, whatever, and he was a Unabomber.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's a guy that lives up in the woods by his damn self, and he's up there building pipe bombs and blowing people up and stuff. I mean, So no, that can't be good.
Well, Saturday, I had a friend that we were texting back and forth.
I was about to say, don't tell me you were building a pipe bomb.
No. We were texting back and forth, and I finally picked up the phone and called this friend and said, "Look, I just got to hear another voice. I got to talk to somebody. I got to hear it."
Good morning, Randall Mallard.
Morning, 44.
There he is. How you doing this morning, Randall? The Colonel in. Good morning, Colonel. Let's see here. Who else jumped in there? PGP is in there. Banks are very low on change. Yeah, that's what I've heard people say that. So Jesse James was saying that the Mint created 1.6 billion coins in June. It is a very short-term shortage. They had decreased production in April and May due to the virus. The media is just over-exaggerating as usual. So, hey, look, and Jessica just made a good point. So these teachers, think about that. Heather, she's an educator. Your mom was an educator. How many times your mom hugged my neck? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like you walk in, you class, and of course, either before or after the class, if you knew Miss Jennings, mm-hmm. and she and we were all very fond of Miss Jennings, you gonna walk over there, and at least speak, and a lot of times she didn't want to hug you. She'd let you know, get out of my class. But I'm just saying, think about, from that respect, how do you push a kid away from you until you get away from him? I mean, that there it goes. It gets back to that mental, what is happening mentally to everyone through the course of what we've all been going through right now. Mm-hmm. So, but I got something that'll lighten the mood up, and this will definitely, this blew my mind. An unopened Super Mario Brothers video game released in 1985 for Nintendo's NES console broke the world record for the most ever paid for any video game, according to Dallas-based Heritage Auctions. The anonymous bidder scooped up the game, get this, for $114,000 at an auction on Friday.
What game they buy?
Super Mario Brothers.
Wow.
I mean, that makes me want to go pull the 2600 out, the old Atari.
Yeah.
Start counting games and see if I got any that might be still in the box fresh.
How much do they get for combat?
Double dribble.
Tank.
I don't know.
Golly.
I mean,
he's not experiencing a coin shortage.
Negative. The previous record was set in 2019 when an unopened copy of the same game sold for $100,150. I didn't realize the Super Mario Brothers was that popular. I guess to say that you've got an unopened one, maybe that means something.
It wouldn't mean that much to me.
No, not $114,000 worth.
I wouldn't give $5 for it. It wouldn't mean $5 to me. I'm honestly, when I say that.
And you know what? That's the crazy thing is that we grew up playing Pong.
Yeah, I mean,
and I mean, what was the furthest you got? Like game? What, Pac-Man? Maybe.
I was never good at them.
Me either.
So I didn't play them that much.
I didn't either.
Have I ever played Pac-Man at the arcade? Yes.
Sure.
Ever played Donkey Kong? Yes. Galaga. I wasn't any good at any of them. I was always told there was a pattern. And I never, knew the patterns, and it wasn't my cup of tea.
Listen, I used to watch those people stand over at that Mike Tyson punch-out game and fight those people and get all the way to Mike Tyson and whip him. And then, man, I'd see people that get there and finally get to Tyson, and he'd hit them about 8-10 times, and they'd be down. I've never been any good at those games either.
Yeah.
And now these games they have online, these computer games. Have you seen any of that stuff?
I haven't paid much attention. I wouldn't know if you turned on Fortnite. I've heard it. I wouldn't even know what it is. I wouldn't recognize it.
You would be shocked at the realism of this stuff. It is unbelievable. It just is unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe how crazy that it all really looks. PW, Paul Crumpton. Good morning, Paul. Across the big pond this morning. Good morning, Naomi Lindsay. Let's see here.
I did see some more positive news locally this weekend.
Well, please tell it.
Bruton Strong started back up. Yesterday,
Yeah,
I think, was their first day back in the rotation, but the city, along with T-shirt sales, have created another little nest egg of money. And, of course, Sarge, you and Wade are going to make sure that gets distributed. And I think they were at Pick and Save yesterday. So certainly want to thank the city of Bruton and thank Sarge, you and Wade for their efforts to kind of keep the ball going here locally.
Yes,
And it helps.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, as we have said many times, that's a full-time job on top of a full-time job.
I think I saw where they're going to do it once a week, just
Okay.
because of what it does from a time standpoint.
Sure.
I mean, it was getting, like you
It
said,
was
around
brutal.
the clock. But I think they're going to do it. If I read it correctly, they're going to do it one time a week. Of course, they'll rotate the locations. But yesterday they were at Pick and Save, so we'll see where the next one is. But once again, the city trying to step in and do all they can do to help us in tough times.
More exciting news for you.
Okay.
And you'll definitely appreciate this one. Remember some weeks back we talked about this line of work. Employees of Hamburg's red light district, as the Red Room was named after, are demanding to get back to work following shutdowns due to the coronavirus. About 400 prostitutes held a protest Saturday calling on the government to reopen brothels. Prostitution in brothels is legal in Germany. You can't make this up. The protest was organized by the Association of Sex Workers, who stated that the closure of licensed premises is forcing some prostitutes onto the streets, which is illegal and a far more dangerous and unhygienic way of working. Shops, restaurants, and bars have been allowed to reopen, but brothels remain closed.
Did you say there's an association of sex workers?
That's what it says.
I'm going to Google it. When we go off air, there's they have jackets and stuff? An association.
Listen,
Sexual workers.
I don't know what they have. I'm just telling you that they have a union, and it's called the Association of Sex Workers.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
They are ticked off because these shops and restaurants and bars have been allowed to reopen, but brothels remain closed.
I told you about that emotional bubble. It's going to burst.
Come on, man.
It's going to burst.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what. That's taking it to another level, isn't it? I mean, hey, but listen, we sit here and we cut up about that, but hey, I mean, that's a true story. I mean, that's really going on. I mean, I wonder how you go and apply for that on like unemployment.
I'm not gonna give my opinion on that. I've got an idea or two.
I wonder how you go about like making that happen when you sit there and Mr. James, I understand you're out of work. Yes, ma'am, I am. What is your occupation? Well, let's see how to put this. I'm a pilot. Oh, that's great. Probably got that. We got spots for you all over. Well, I don't think you understand the kind of pilot I'm talking about. That's crazy, man. I mean, just that is just
I'm
crazy.
trying to understand the union.
Well, hey, it's in Germany.
I mean, do they pay dues, fees?
It says that the protest was organized by said union.
Okay.
It doesn't say union. I'm assuming.
Okay. I said that, an association.
Yeah,
there's an association.
Sure. I'm assuming, that's the case. So, and yes, Timmy Wiggins, a little hard for the Riddler to do all that kind of stuff being out of pocket. But yeah, get ready. This week's going to be real interesting. Real interesting. So get ready for that. If DJ lived over there, he wouldn't have time to clean the Red Room. How about that?
Got to make time.
Well, yeah, I think you could. That's just that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, it just is. Walt Disney World reopened over the weekend.
You know, I saw that, and I was wondering what kind of crowds showed up.
Well, theme park journalists, I want to say how to pronounce, Carol Wiesel, however you say this, said that the social distancing and things they had in place quickly fell apart when visitors entered the park. There's a shocker. I mean, you're talking about, what did they think?
So are they saying that when they opened the gates, there was just as many people there this time as it was prior to all this mess?
They said many took to social media to share mixed emotions about the park reopening. Others shared photos of people standing back to back, maskless, as they waited in line.
For the screamy Mimi.
I mean,
where the big rides? Where the good rides?
Yeah.
Where the big rides?
So,
Screamy Mimi. Screamy Mimi.
Oh man, yeah. So I think it's I think it's tough. How can you expect to be able to maintain order in a situation like that?
I kind of thought that people wouldn't flock to Disney World, but I guess they did. I was thinking about that while they were on hiatus, and I said it'll be interesting to see when they open the gates what kind of crowds they open them to. And in the back of my mind, I thought they would be smaller, but evidently that's not the case.
No, it would appear that they blew in there like a hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of Disney lovers.
Oh, sure.
And I'm not dogging them for that. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think right now, I think things are going to be. It's going to be a while before things get back to normal for people to be able to go and do things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but that I don't know what they expected, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know, you can't put that many people in one place and expect everybody to stand on that spot, and the next one's 6 foot behind them.
If you let them in the gate, there's no way to control it.
No.
I mean, that's, I've seen the arrows at Walmart, and it's a great effort on the grocery section. It's one way. It's designed to be one way. I can tell you that doesn't work. I don't think half the people even know those labels are there on the floor directing you in traffic. If you let them in the door, you have very little control on how they move about and where they're going to stand, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's too, in my opinion, it's too hard to kind of control that many people.
There's no way.
I mean, let's just be honest. It just is. So, good morning, Danny Smith, down in Little Lagoon, enjoying that vacation. Enjoy it down there, man.
Darren's brother came in.
He did.
Just a couple of moments ago.
Okay. Well, good morning, Darren's brother. What else is going on? So Sargent and Wade getting cranked back up again. That's a good thing.
Once a week.
Didn't David start with drive-through only last Tuesday? Didn't they go back to the drive-through only?
I know they went back to the drive-through or takeout only, but I don't know what day it started. But yes.
Back to drive-through only.
Mm-hmm. Or pickup.
So curbside. You still do curbside as well?
We still do curbside.
Okay. And what else going on in town? Anything over the week or last week that may have.
The creeks were full of people. I can tell you that. Trying to beat the heat. Yeah.
Man, I don't tell you what. They were trying to beat it.
There were the creeks were full.
So, where's the main creek that everybody goes to now? Is it down there at Burnt Corn?
I tell you, this actually did my heart good. There was a lot of people at Burnt Corn, and Lindsay and I rode down to O'Bannon, and O'Bannon was packed. The creek.
Really?
Oh yeah. And so we went
the
there.
Old sandbar.
Yeah, it was a lot of it down there. And I told Lindsay, I said, we used to go there a good bit when I was a kid.
Rope swing.
But
bridge.
O'Bannon was full of folks.
Well, that's really neat. Because, like you said, that was a hot spot back in the day.
I'm assuming Fort Crawford is still a destination. I didn't go over there. Haven't been down there in quite some time.
I haven't either.
That's still a pretty good swimming hole.
I have not either, so I don't know. Let's see. Even the Walmart workers doing pickup don't follow the arrows.
But I mean, there's no way.
Rob Anderson says, pin up demand for Disney World.
I guess so. People are looking to get out and do
there's
something.
a lot of people that love Disney World. I mean, for sure,
Did they have to change their pricing any? Or to your knowledge, the pricing stayed the same?
Now, that would be a Disney expert question. I do not qualify as that person.
Okay.
So I cannot say. I can say that I think that they probably... Well, I do know that if you had like reservations and things up through a certain point, they pushed them back or, did some of that kind of thing. I don't know what they did as far as, if you're like an annual pass holder or, things like that. I'm just not real sure. Here's the thing. I saw a story yesterday. Don't know if it's true. Couldn't tell you. I mean, it was being reported. I want to say either the AP, Reuters, one of the two, but it said that that they're trying to figure out now if the coronavirus may not be bacterial. Have you seen or read anything about that?
I have not seen that, and you've got to be kidding me.
No, that's exactly. I mean, exactly what it said. And I'm not sure. I mean, it didn't really elaborate more. It just talked about that there was some indication of that and that kind of thing. And, of course, you've got different places in the country that are, seem like to be hot spots and that kind of thing. And so, but I do think every day that goes by, we learn more about it. I think it will help, get us through this.
It's when I'm in self-quarantine, I'm at the house, I obviously think about a lot of things, and one of them is obviously the virus. And it is hard for me to fathom how it has impacted the entire world. That's just I can't get wrapped around that. Was it 7 billion people in the world, and everybody's at risk?
Yes.
I mean that's wild.
It is. I mean, it's a crazy time, man. I mean, for real, it's just a crazy, crazy time. So I'm seeing that Fort Crawford stays locked and closed down.
I saw that.
The old Fort Crawford.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jesse James said they have not changed their pricing. They're only allowing a certain number of people in every day.
That's what I was wondering. They had to be able to counter.
But here's the thing. Even if they're only letting that few people in, apparently it was a madhouse.
Well, yeah.
So, that was one of our big concerns about the Dirty 30 Jam.
Yeah.
It was. So, controlling, how do you control that?
You don't.
And you just don't.
You just back off and punt. You punt.
Yeah. So, yeah, Lori Duke said she saw the same thing I saw with them reporting that. So, again, I'm not saying in any shape, form, or fashion that this is a bad thing, a terrible thing, good thing. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, the more we learn about this, I would think the quicker we'd be on track to be getting something that'll take care of this. We won't have to worry about it anymore. on a daily basis.
You know, the thing, I'll tell you, what is a little alarming to me when you talk about trending and the direction things might be going, and I'm certainly not trying to create chaos. The media does a good enough job of that anyway. But here in Escambia County, we're up bumping around 500 positive cases.
Yep.
And we are recognized, along with other counties, as one of the hot spots.
Yes.
We've been put on a grid with a color designation that says we are a hot spot. And 500 is a lot of people. You know, we have 37,000 in the county. So the fact that 500 had tested positive, I don't know how many have shown symptoms, but right at 500 testing positive, if they say, and I've seen this several times, they say that before it's over with, 80% of the population is going to test positive for this at some point. I'm not a math major, and I don't know what 500 is of 37,000, but it's minimal. I mean, what is that? I mean, it's probably 1%.
Well, let's see. How many did you say?
There's 37,000 people, and 500 people have tested positive, just to keep it on round numbers.
Okay, so 500. That's 0.0135. So
1%?
1%.
Okay. So that just kind of gives you an idea of where this thing might get to before it plays out. If those numbers are right, that 80% are going to test positive.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and here's the thing too. The problem is a lot of people walking around don't know.
Can you get it twice?
Listen, there's so much information that says you can't. There's so much information that says you can. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, you know, it all, I guess, really depends on what you believe, what you don't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because there's so many different places of reference.
That's what frustrates me is this. I just want some information. I'll make my own mind up. Just give me some good information.
Well, that's one of my big problems with the CDC website, and I'm not saying that they're wrong in doing this. I know they're just trying to put out information, but you may read one thing today, and then tomorrow or the next day, read something that totally contradicts what they put on today. Mm-hmm. And I know, like I said, it's a fluid situation, and they're learning, and I get it, but, you know, it's just one of those things that kind of concerns me. You know,
we talked about this, and when it's like that, and that's a fair assessment of how information comes out. And we have said this a couple of times. Think about the people who have to make decisions, and you can't get good information. You can't get consistent. I don't care if it's local, state, or federal level. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in.
It is.
I mean, that's a tough spot to be in.
And I'll tell you this, and I will commend our city officials, you know, of course, you know, Mayor Yank Lovelace and of course the council and, you know, all the people that, you know, work hard every day to keep our city going and running. I do commend them for the tough decisions they've already made and decisions they've made to try to help keep Bruton running.
They've certainly been proactive. They gave away masks last week.
Absolutely.
City purchased a bunch of masks, and the fire department had a couple of distribution points, and we're handing them out. That'll probably be an ongoing effort. But our people, our elected officials have certainly been proactive in that regard.
Yeah, I think they have, and you know, I think that they've done a fantastic job of trying to keep Bruton moving forward.
You have to,
if you will.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We have to.
You know, and
okay,
there you go. Tracy Miller said, I've had a good friend that has just tested positive again after getting it the first time. Wow. Jamie,
I can tell you who else is. I was asking that, you know, for personal reasons. I don't think Stokes could handle it again from an emotional standpoint.
Well, yeah, I mean, what did like 20-something days before he finally got? I mean, I'm not trying to tell his business.
I'm going to tell it. This was Stokes' story. Stokes was in quarantine for 27 days. He tested on day 1, which put him in protocol. He was sick on days 2 and 3. Day 5, he could have played in a ball game from a health standpoint and feeling standpoint. He felt great on day 5. The afternoon of day 5 is when his test came back positive. So for his case, the sickness came and went before he knew he had it. Well, then to get out of protocol, you have to test and get a negative result. So he went back on day 7 and tested. And when it came back there along day 10 or 11, he was still positive. He went back on day 17, tested. About day 20, it comes back positive. He goes in on day 27, tests for the 4th time, and thankfully that was when they had the 45-minute turnaround time.
That's right.
And it came back negative. So for 27 days, he was shut down. And the thing that I kept thinking about was if he'd have been out on his own, and depending on where his work was, he could have gone 2.5 weeks without a paycheck, which means bills back up, food doesn't get bought, families don't get taken care of. Had he been in that position, and he was sick for 2 days.
And that is a very scary proposition.
Yeah, he was sick for 2 days.
I mean, you think about it. What do they call the law? Whatever you will. They provide for a 2-week. I believe I'm right on this. A 2-week window of where you have, as an employer, have to pay them for 80 hours of their average wage.
Is that every job, or is that a certain amount of employees?
Maybe up to a certain amount of employees. Yeah. I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it would have been easy for him, depending on how he would have been positioned. He's a person that could have slipped through the cracks. So you have to know there are people out there who have experienced real hardship.
Oh, sure.
I mean, real hardship.
Doubt. Yeah, really.
And it's one of those deals, when you get behind like that, it's just hard to get back. But I don't know. That was just an interesting timeline for me that, 27 days he was down, and he was sick for 2 of them.
So I got to tell you, I ran into a guy over the weekend that is in the military, been in the military for 13 years. And this guy's in the Air Force. He's an officer and a very educated guy. He has a lot to do with a lot of those aircraft you see flying around down on the coast and that kind of thing. And I want to tell this story simply because he told it to me, and he showed me. Let me just say, he didn't have to prove anything else after he showed me what he showed me. Let me just say that. Mm-hmm. All of their squadron, they called them squadrons in the Air Force. He said that they were just getting positive test after positive test after positive test for COVID-19. He said, so all of a sudden they decide something's wrong. Like there's just no way. So they took, I want to say 5, 6, 7, ever how many tests, popped the thing, put it back, didn't swab anything, put it back in, put some names on it, sent them off.
No way.
Every one of them came back positive.
No way.
Every one of them.
You know this happened for a fact?
For a fact.
Wow.
This guy's integrity is not in question. Like, not in question.
Wow.
Jesse James was standing there. She can attest to that story. She saw that same exact thing.
Obviously, then there's a monetary factor that's involved as well.
That was the next thing out of his mouth. He said, I want you to realize what's happening here. And I said, okay, and let me say this. This guy's not a conspiracy theorist. This guy's not a political person at all. As a matter of fact, he's probably the most apolitical person that I know. And that's a fact. I mean, like, he doesn't care about that. Whoever the commander-in-chief is, that's who he takes orders from. You know what I mean? That's how he's geared. He doesn't care about all that other. He doesn't get into it, doesn't even talk about it. He point blank said that, the more positives, the more federal money flow into whatever place that had the positive test.
Wow.
So, I'm not saying, all I can tell you, I'm just sharing the story he shared with me. I'm not saying that I was part of that experiment. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying or trying to say that this is a bad thing. I mean, this a hope. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in this particular instance, this is what they did. And when they did that, that was the result that they got back.
Wow. Well, there are certainly, some known cases where hardship was endured. Regretfully, some have passed away. So it is, there's enough out there to let you know that it is real. I don't think there's any question that it's real. I'm certainly not going to put their business on the street. I know somebody who's had it and had a tough time with it.
Oh, me too.
I know somebody.
Me too.
So it has hit close to home to where you know it is legit.
Hazel said my hair's starting to look like Kenny Rogers.
Hey, Kenny.
Yeah. I'm going to start singing The Gambler.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Come on every morning with that song. On a warm summer's eve. I wish I could sing like him. I tell you right now. But no, I'm like you. I know, hey, listen, I know a couple of people's had a real tough time with it.
Real tough time.
I don't think we're telling their business because they put it out for people to know. Speedy Nelson and his wife, both of them had a real tough time with it. So again, I'm not telling that story to say that this is a non-life threatening thing. That's not my point. My point is, I think there's a lot of other factors at play here as well. Mm-hmm. And I saw somebody mention about false positives and false negatives. I think Sherry Weaver said that. Yeah, and that's a fact too. And that's what he was talking about. I mean, he was more so speaking about the false positives and the false negatives more so than just the act of what they did or how they did it. He was more so talking about, well, hey, this is what we had happen. He said over a 60-day period of time, they had about 150 to 200 positive tests come back. And that he said there was just no way because nobody had a symptom.
Is that out of 500 people or out of 300 people?
He did not say the exact number. I took it to be the majority of the squadron.
And nobody was really showing any symptoms? Nobody was sick?
He said not a soul.
Okay.
He said not a soul. Every one of them were walking around just as, no problem. So, again, I'm not, I'm not trying to make light of this. That's not my point. My point is that I'm sure on the flip side of that coin, there's just as many stories of, we've sent these tests in, they've come back negative when they actually were really positives. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but I do think that when you mix, and think about this, and I think you would agree with this, I do think that when you mix money, federal money, big money, in to anything dealing with, a state at the state level, let's be real honest. The state wants every dime they can get.
I've seen it
from the federal government.
I've seen it,
and the waste involved.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be. I mean, let me say this: that story didn't shock me at all.
No.
It didn't shock me at all. I wish I could say it did, but it just didn't. So, and like I said, this guy's his integrity is not questioned.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey, we get that, Hayes. I can tell you that we having it right now here in, like you said, we've joined that color. What is it? Red,
dark red.
That dark red color of being a hot spot here in South Alabama. Of course, I think Alabama is one of the states now that are on some of these other states' list of you can't travel from here to there.
Yeah, the numbers out of Florida and Texas are just mind-boggling.
But so let me ask you this though, and this is going to be, I guess, a loaded question. I don't mean for it to be a loaded question. So, how does going to play a conference schedule instead of not playing your out-of-conference opponents, how does that make a difference?
It doesn't. There's just so much money involved, and they have to have it. They're basically grasping at straws is what they're doing. they're trying to, and I don't blame them. I mean, these are their livelihoods at stake. If you do a year, any of these schools, you do a year without the revenue that's generated through football, and they're going to have to absolutely revamp how they do business. You won't be able to pay coaches $10 million a year. You won't be able to make $20 million upgrades to athletic facilities. It'll be a game changer if they don't get to play.
Okay, so my question is this, and I'm just asking, should these universities that pay these coaches $8-10 million a year, $4 million, $2 million, whatever, should they still get federal or state monies handed to them when all they do is go up on tuition every single year and paying out the kind of money that they pay out? Should they still get federal or state funds when they're at that level? And you're a sport. I mean, I know that's your wheelhouse. So
the answer, my opinion, would be yes, just because of if you look at it from an investment standpoint, how much money do those schools generate for the communities they're in, the states they're in?
All right, I agree with that. Here's my next question.
They're not going to do away with it. They're not going to cut funding. That'll be the last thing they do is cut funding.
My question is this: they don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't pay sales. I mean, they pay zero tax on anything. Okay, now I realize that all the business that builds up and blows up around those schools do. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm saying what you just said a while ago about the level. Do you think the level of paying the tens of millions of dollars? Do you think we're going to see that change?
If they don't have football, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
you may go back to aluminum bleachers.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is that how? I mean, okay, so Alabama and USC can't play each other because they're not in the same conference, but yet there are how many teams? How many different states represent the SEC? 11? Is that right?
I think that's right.
I mean, what's the difference?
There's no difference from that standpoint. That when these conferences whittle it back to a conference play only, they're just trying to control it. Now they're trying to control the situation. They're hoping they get to have 7 games. They're hoping they get to have 8 games. I'm here saying the way this thing is trending, they're not going to have any. They might have 1, they might have 2, and then as soon as something, let me say this. This is a little far-fetched, and it's not. I'm going to say this in a way that it wouldn't be offensive. In 1982, summer practice, 1982, the starting fullback at Auburn died from heat exhaustion basically on the field. He technically died at Opelika Medical Center, but he stroked out on the practice field at Auburn. His name was Greg Pratt. Okay? I was the manager. That was my last year being the manager.
Morning, O'Clock.
At T.R. Miller. And I can tell you that T.R. Miller practices went from 1 water break for 2.5 hours to about 6.
Sure.
It was literally every 15 or 20 minutes, coaches sending them off the field, and we're having water breaks. So from 82 forward, and I'm sure it happened before 82, you just didn't hear about it because of the media or lack of, and certainly social media.
Sure.
Since 1982, there has been somebody in either high school, college, professional level that has died on the football field. Whether it was heat related, whether it was an enlarged heart, whether it was asthma, somebody has passed away every year. And they've never shut it down because of it. I'm certainly not being insensitive to that happening. But as soon as somebody goes down this year, regardless of what it is, COVID-19 is going to get attached to it wrongly or rightly. And at that point, you got blood on your hands.
Oh, sure.
At that point, blood's on your hands, and what is it worth? So that is a factor that is going to be in play moving forward. I'm going to tell you, and if they practice, in these heat indexes that are 115, somebody's body is going to react poorly to it. It's happened every year.
Yes.
It's happened every year.
And I just don't see, and I'm not playing conspiracy theorist. I just don't see how you're going to be able to have if just say you take half of Jordan-Hare Stadium, what's that going to be? 45,000 people? I don't know how you put 45,000 people in Jordan-Hare Stadium and say that you can keep that safe in the environment we're in right now.
You can put the arrows down at Walmart.
And they won't follow.
That won't follow.
No. They're standing in line at Disney World, back to back.
On the Screaming Mimi.
No mask on.
Yeah.
And supposed to have mask and supposed to be 6 feet social distancing.
I'll tell you what the no-brainer will be. If these colleges and universities decide that it's not safe for the students to be there, there's no way you could put athletes out there.
Well,
there's no way you could do it. I don't think they've gotten to that point yet. I think that's coming, but it's. I would be shocked. I'll tell you. I'll take it a step further. I'll be shocked by this time next week if we're still scheduled to have a football season.
You mean high school, college, the whole works?
It'll start with college and it'll go from there.
Okay.
That's $1 billion a year industry. $1 billion with the B.
When is school slated to start back? What date?
I think our local school system start back August 6th.
Well, I would like to, I know we spoke to Dr. Mackey not long ago. I'd like to talk to, and of course, and I want to revisit, and I do want to revisit the whole uniform thing that we were talking about before we went on hiatus last week. I want to talk about that. And the reason I want to, I want to talk about that because the overwhelming word was no to school uniforms. Did you see that?
I did.
So, I'm just, I still think there's something there that needs to be talked about with that. And, I don't know why that can't be set down and had a conversation about.
If you open the stadiums, are the concession stands going to be open?
Well, if they're not.
Are the bathrooms going to be open?
Sure. I mean, listen, you can't keep people from congregating and touch points not being there. You just can't do it. Now, how does this thing? The problem is, I don't think, honestly, I don't think they still know how this thing is transmitted. I mean, you see a lot of things about masks. I'm not dogging that. That's not my point. My point is that you see a lot of places where people are wearing masks and a lot of people, places doing that kind of thing, places that are mandating masks and so on and so forth, but their cases are still going up. And I'm not saying it's because of wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. What I'm saying is I just don't know that they have a handle on it yet. So, at the end of the day, Auburn starts classes August 17th. Okay. So by end of July, football's not happening. One team has to shut it down. The rest fall. Well, you've got a couple teams already shut it down, haven't you?
The Ivy League's already shut it down.
Yeah.
They're the ones that started it with basketball.
Didn't Kansas or
Kansas State has suspended.
K-State, yes.
They have suspended football workouts. Ohio State suspended football workouts. So I would say they're a national brand.
Yeah.
The North Carolina's already canceled the game with Auburn. Of course, I don't think the SEC has made a decision to go to conference only yet, but the Big Ten has, the Pac-12 has.
So it's coming.
I don't see any way around it.
But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know how they're going to be able. Anyway, we could talk about that for 4 or 5 days. Several titles for this day, Monday, July, 13th? Yeah. Let's see here. But today is Barbershop Music Appreciation Day.
Barbershop Music Appreciation Day.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, I don't necessarily know that I hear a lot of music in barbershops. Maybe there used to be. It's also Bean and Frank's Day. So, I guess beanie weenies.
I'll be out on that.
Me too. Hey, this is good for us, DJ. It's Embrace Your Geekness Day.
There it is.
That sounds just like us. Fool's Paradise Day.
Down with that.
Well, explain that one to me. I don't understand that one at all. I just don't. So, International Town Criers Day. You can't make this up.
To each his own.
Go West Day.
I will be shortly.
Well, I mean, you'll love this one. National French Fry Day.
Now, I will celebrate that 3 times today. Absolutely. I'm in with that.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta love that. Gotta love that.
Flash fry, please.
National Beef Tallow Day. I don't know if I know what beef tallow is. Do you?
I do not.
I don't either. And last but not least, it is Gruntled Workers Day. Not disgruntled.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, disgruntled would mean like pissed off, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess gruntled would be the opposite of that, right?
Well, they need to come see Steve Hubert. Because he's gruntled every day.
So, you know, I thought you'd get a kick out of that. I mean, there's 365 days in a year.
366 this year.
I'm sorry. You're right. So, I'm going to assume that every single day has some sort of name attached to it because there's only 366.
It would appear that way.
I'm in on the National French Fry Day.
Yeah.
Like that excites me.
I'm going to celebrate.
Like you say, pull them out, let them dry off a little bit, flash fry them,
Flash fry 'em.
put them back in.
You'll never eat them any other way.
It's good to get it done. Let's see here. Ashley Marr said one positive: the schools will be shut down. Do you think that's? I mean, you know, we asked Dr. Mackey that question.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a mess. And once again, I can't say this enough. The people who are having to make these decisions are in tough spots.
They are. They are. They really are. And I wouldn't want to be one of them. I'll tell you, I would not want to be one of them at all because they're having a tough day, a tough time. You know, it's just a tough time to be, you know, having to make those types of decisions, especially when you're, you know, you don't really know, you know, one way or the next, what's been, you know, going on. So, anyway, so I just, man plus what? Oh, well. Anyway, I was, I'll tell you this. I was happy to get back in here this morning. I was happy to see it wasn't as hot this morning. Is it supposed to be as hot this afternoon?
Yes.
So we're in.
We got a little break from the rain last night, cooled things off for a moment, but it'll be a bruiser today. Anybody that's going to be out in it, keep plenty of fluids close by because it won't take long.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't seem as humid outside this morning. Or was it when you got out?
In the middle of the day, it's going to be
brutal.
Yep.
What was it? Heat index supposed to be 107 or something?
I think it was 112 yesterday, according to the reading I had.
Wow. Anything else going on this week we need to put out there?
I'm not aware of it yet.
That may be happening in the big city? Nothing you know of? Are they through with the paving project?
It looks like all the asphalt's down. I can't speak if all the striping's been done yet. Or
Is
not.
the red light fixed? That's my big question.
Yeah, all the red lights are back.
So you're not having to sit there anymore waiting
Nope.
on this
Nope.
and that and other.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's good. Let's see here. Okay. So I keep getting these messages. I don't know who in the world they're from, so I'm going to try and figure out who. About approximately 80,000 to clean a school without COVID case, 100,000 plus to clean one with COVID schools. Whew, that's a lot of money.
Sure it is.
A lot of money. So you want to call tomorrow Trivia Tuesday? Have some trivia tomorrow?
Works for me.
I think there may be some riddles about to come out too, so you may want to watch that.
What's that?
Maybe some riddles about to come out as well.
Yeah, I need to get back at that.
Yeah. Well, we had to quarantine and then I was out of pocket and things just got crazy and hadn't worked out that well, but we're gonna make that happen. So man, look what time it is.
It's about that time.
It's about that time, ain't it? I didn't realize it was. I'm sitting here and back gun. All right, man, let's get out of here.
It's been a great Monday. Appreciate everybody being in with us. Hope you have a great day. Be safe. Keep fluids handy. It's gonna be a tough one. If you have some time to waste tomorrow, get back in here and we'll do it all over again. Y'all have a good one. Love y'all.